Hey everybody, it's Fight Club Hubs here, and I am making a video response to something that a friend of mine talked about in a recent video that he just made earlier in the week, and that is Jerry Herring, and he asked a very good question. Would you sell your gaming collection? He touched on many points in regards to things that he would sell in regards to things in his life, stuff like crisis, going into debt, everything, just life in general. And he makes a lot of good points, and I just wanted to add on top of that because I too went through a series of events where I really wanted to at some point sell parts of my collection. Some of the things I have done early on in my life, in my early 20s, is I did buy a lot of video games, starting out in college. My first job, my first console I bought with my own money was the Sega Dreamcast, and I have about over half of the collection right now. I'm still slowly collecting it, but apparently it's become a very hot item. So it's very hard to buy games for reasonable prices as the people are currently, upping the prices and are, also other people are getting in on the hunt for, collecting Dreamcast games. But early in my youth, adolescence, I guess, I was buying games, I was trading them into Funkoland or GameStop or EB Games, and I was just, doing this off and on. It wasn't about until maybe 2004, 2005, I decided to stop trading in my games, selling my games, mainly because I would end up buying the games again because I got attached to some of these games, but I sold them for money because I needed the money at the time to pay for classes, but that wasn't really the case anymore because I stopped going to college. I have a good job now, and that job was able to help out with building my game collection over the years. What you see here is only really about 2/3 of my gaming collection right here. This right here in my basement, about these 3 bookshelves. I would say early on the NES stuff, the Genesis stuff, that stuff I got when I was a kid. My parents started off getting those systems back in the late 80s, early 90s when I was like going through middle school, so they bought some Genesis games, and then through allowances and whatnot I grew my collection, and then eventually, like I said, I started collecting games about after college without trading stuff in. So some of the stuff I wanted to touch on is that I did go through that period of time after I got married, actually, that I would consider selling a lot of my games. And to my wife's surprise, she was shocked by this because she knows that I'm a very avid game collector. But she was shocked to hear me answer this at times when somebody asked me this. Yeah, I would have back then. I mean, I still would consider it, but only under extreme circumstances. I mean, I have 2 kids now. Let's say something my insurance won't pick up, and I do need easy money. I do have some games that are worth some money that I would definitely sell in a heartbeat, reluctantly in a heartbeat, because I would need it. I have a couple of the very expensive games. I have a boxed copy. I mean, I'm not trying to gloat here. I'm just saying that my 2 prized games right now are Panzer Dragoon Saga, which at the time my wife was my girlfriend, got that for me for my birthday. And then a couple of years ago, I picked up a complete mail order boxed copy of Doom 1 for the PC. Those are my 2 prized possessions right now. But I would consider selling them if, extreme circumstances arise, because those games have gone up extremely in value. I mean, they're not, let's say, the price of a little Samson, but just the Panzer Dragoon Saga itself is worth a lot of money. I mean, a few years ago, I just now managed to get a position at my company that, makes me financially stable. It took me a while. It took me almost 12 years to get a full-time position in my company. It took me an additional 2 years of training in a new position to finally get to a place where I was financially stable. It wasn't until maybe 5 years into my marriage that, you know, stuff started getting really rough. We had our first son, and, you know, it was really hard to, I mean, I wasn't collecting as much games back then. I mean, if I had a little extra that I put aside for myself, then maybe, like, if I went to Too Many Games convention or whatever, I would pick up a bunch of games there, and that was it. But during a period of time, like, we were just getting hit with, like, really heavy bills, and, you know, stuff was, like, minor bills had to be pushed off so we could pay off these bigger bills, and car problems, you know, plumbing problems, just, you know, all kinds of stuff that just popped up that you, as a homeowner, as a car owner, you know, stuff that just really builds up over time, that really, you know, grinds the gears. I didn't sell any of my games through that period of time because I was very confident, very adamant that we could work through these ordeals, and we did. I mean, it took a lot of patience and time, but we managed to work through all this stuff. Would I still consider selling any of my games if I need to? Yes, I would. I wouldn't have a problem getting rid of, you know, some like Game Boy Advance games. I probably wouldn't have a problem getting rid of my PS2 games, because those were games that I've just, you know, bought through the last several years, but I didn't grow up with those because I don't really have an attachment to them. Now, stuff that I would have a harder time selling that I might have personal attachment to, my NES collection, Genesis collection, my Dreamcast, my Sega CD stuff. I might have a hard time, you know, parting with those, but if push came to shove, yeah, I would sell that stuff. But thankfully, I have not come to a point where I need to do that. Now, what would I do with my games, let's say, when I get too old? Like, let's say I'm in my twilight years, post-retirement. I mean, I can't keep my games forever. So a new question arises, what do I do with my games? Will I sell my collection? Or do I pass it down to my sons and let them do with it as they please? I do have, you know, like, let's say I have a whole collection of imports of the Lunar franchise. I might personally keep that for myself till, you know, the day I die. Then my kids can do whatever they want. But I wouldn't have a problem, you know, giving them my Xbox games, the NES games, you know, something for their kids to enjoy when I'm in my twilight years. I think another thing that was touched on was, you know, like the personal attachment, the identity thing, which Jerry talked about. And yeah, that's definitely who I am too. As I mentioned on, like, I do have some personal history with a lot of the stuff that I've collected through the years as a kid. You know, my parents started buying games for me and my brother and my sister. But then, you know, there's the stuff that I personally bought with my own money, like, very beginning, like Sega Dreamcast is my first purchase when I got a job. And all the games then on added on to that, and I would say I have a personal attachment to the Dreamcast, and that is kind of like my identity. I love gaming, collecting games. It's a great pastime. I mean, some people view it as a waste of money. I have too many games, some of which I probably will never play. You know, I understand that, and yeah, I can see that too. I mean, I did recently pick up an Amiga CD32, if you can see it there behind Blanca, and I don't think I'm going to get to play every single game I get for the Amiga CD32. I have a collection of games right underneath the thing right now, but as of this time, I mean, I got many years to go, so I will definitely get around to playing as many games as I can. But who knows, you know, going back to the main point, would I sell my games? Yeah, I definitely probably would consider doing it again. If, let's say, push came to shove and a major situation arose. If it involved, let's say, the health of my kids, no-brainer. This stuff has to go. If I have to pay for something insanely expensive, like getting a new car, yeah, I will have to reluctantly sell some of this stuff. If I have to put money towards, let's say, something I don't even want to think about, to be truthfully honest, yeah, I probably would. I mean, some people will probably be very adamant. I mean, yes, this is part of my identity of who I am, but it would be stupid of me to not, take the reasonable, responsible route. So, and I'm not saying other people who choose not to sell their collection are not reasonable, are not responsible. It's different situations for different scenarios for different people. So you never know what's going to happen. Anyway, that's all I have to talk about. So y'all have a good day.